Hello, friends. Okay, today I'd like to talk a little bit about really going much deeper into the core of the problem of the systemically disenfranchised in the inner cities of the USA. So this should be a pretty light topic, but actually it becomes, I think, one of the deepest and the heaviest topics because it is going right to the heart of the disenfranchised. And you know what disenfranchised means? That just means like that you don't have the money, okay? So, but systemically, so over generations, you're just getting cut out from the health insurance, the paid vacation, the paid lunch, the paid sick days, okay? And what that means was a healthy family because you can feed your children and because you have time to be with your children. So systemically disenfranchised. It's actually such a deep topic. And I got so many thoughts on this. I'm going to try to look up at the camera. So many thoughts on this, and there's just so much to say. It's going to be hard for me to stay coherent. But I'm going to try to kind of work through it. We're going to be talking about language, and because I have experience, not just in Chicago and the South Side where I'm from, but then around the world. You know, I've lived in Russia and in the Himalayas to some degree, in Africa and different places, you know, and so I'm familiar with this idea about enfranchisement of the new group or of a group that's not enfranchised, like the slaves, you know, that came to the USA 300 years ago or so, that those people, how they could or could not, you know, integrate. And you see that now in Germany, you see this all over the place, where there's new immigrant groups. Do they stay cut out, and why? Or do they get integrated? So there's stories of integration, and there's stories of remaining separate and not enfranchised. Boy, it's such a deep topic, brothers and sisters. I just want to tell you that you deserve to be enfranchised. So let's just get right into it, okay? I'm not in presentation mode here because I got to show you some things on the other tabs there, but let's see if we could just read this here. So get the money, enfranchise yourself, speaking correctly. I'm going to actually break the taboo today, and we're going to talk about speaking correctly. We're going to be talking about English, but it is an international phenomenon. Let me tell you a quick story, okay? So I'm over here in Germany, in Munich, in a taxi, and of course the guy says, you know, so where are you from? You can hear my accent. I say, yeah, I'm from Chicago. And but I noticed he made some mistakes in his German. So I'm like, so where are you from? He said, oh, I was born here. And I'm like, well, you're not speaking correctly. So why is that? And he said, well, that's because my parents are from Turkey, and we only speak Turkish at home. And you know, that's their big thing. So the Turkish people came in there and don't respect, some of them, I'm sure, respect the country. A lot of them, okay, don't respect the country. They're there to use the country for the money, like the Mexicans, a lot, not all, that come to the USA. Use the country for the money, and then they don't have that respect. It's not like, oh, I love the culture, I love the land, I love the history, I want to learn about it. That's how I approach all countries. Okay, that's my advice for you. You want to be successful as a traveler, or even as a group that's already in a country, not traveling, but you feel cut out like it's not your country. You need to integrate, okay, with the culture. Culture's the language, the clothing. Believe me, when I'm in Russia, я говорю по-русски и спокойно. Okay, so I said I speak Russian and like, you know, sweetly. You know what I'm saying? Not like coming from another place. I meld into those places, you know. Ich spreche auf Deutsch gern. So I speak with pleasure in German. You know what I'm saying? That's just because, I mean, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to come in there like what was it? American power, you know, here, over in Russia. So it wouldn't be good for me, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be good for me, for my children. So think about that. Okay, now we're going to get into it, okay? This is this language. Like I said, we're not in presentation mode, so we can jump around. First topics we'll get into is integration, immigration, and why not start with the freed slave, Frederick Douglass. Now there's an example of somebody who, for you racists out there, you would say like his father was black and his mother was white. I would say that he was a human being from slavery. That's the important thing, from slavery. It's nothing about the color of his skin, believe me, that's racism. He was from slavery, and yet he integrated. And it was because of language. Let's just read some of Frederick Douglass's language. I'm just going to do it like this so I can read it. Okay, this is from an autobiography. There's a little background. Frederick Douglass, 1845. So it's right at the end there, right? Slavery, Civil War. Narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave, described his time as a slave in Maryland. It was one of 5 autobiographies he penned, along with dozens of noteworthy speeches, despite receiving minimal formal education. Look at that, just like me, right? So, see, I didn't go to college and all that, but I just got those computer books and I studied them. So you can do that. You can just take control of your fate. Is that the word fate? Yeah, fate, and it's okay to make little mistakes, language. It's very important if you want to learn. We're going to be talking about learning, saying language, and if you want to learn something, it's very important not to have fear of failure. Okay? Fear of failure is like, I'm afraid if I don't get it right, then it's this negative energy, this black cloud around your brain. You got to get over that. You got to become fearless. Like, I'm going to make some mistakes, and I don't care. I'm going to flow. Just like a rapper, right? They just got to think. Eminem doesn't think, am I going to get this rhyme right or something? You just got to let it come, let it come, let it come. It's anything you want to learn. Music, not just music, of course, but like language. So here's how Frederick Douglass writes way back then. He says, I was born in Tuckahoe near Hillsborough, and about, is that Hillsborough? Hillsborough, and about 12 miles from Easton in Talbot County, Maryland. I have no accurate knowledge of my age, never having seen any authentic record containing it. Now just think about that. That is proper English. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how would someone from this disenfranchised, right, of the inner city, Chicago, but also some disenfranchised people in the countryside, they'd be talking about, yeah, I ain't got no information from my childhood. I never learned that stuff. I ain't got no idea where I come from. So I ain't got, see, we're going to see there's grammar mistakes. A lot of them are in the verbs. We're going to go right into that. And I would say that, I'm no, language expert. You can find a better website to learn English, but I don't know if anyone would really focus in on the typical problems of the disenfranchised in their language. And I'm going to try and do that today. I'm going to give you some help there. And, it's a trip that they don't say that. So whatever. So, okay, that's enough for Frederick Douglass. Let's see what else we got here. So, okay, my friend here. Okay, you don't need to read that. I'll just read it to you. So my friend Maida, when I was a delivery driver there in the south side of Chicago delivering pizzas, there were these people from a civil war over there where they had Siberia, not Siberia, Serbia. Did I say Siberia? Serbia. Okay, Serbia, Croatia, and there's another place, Bosnia. So those 3 places got into that ethnic cleansing and all that stuff. And so Maida came over to Chicago. You know what he told me? He said he's having a hard time integrating. This is like a beige, relatively beige person. But he said, I'm having a hard time integrating because no one corrects my language here. He said, but half of my people from Montenegro, that's where he's really from, it's Montenegro. He said, half of my people, it has nothing to do with Negro. It's Montenegro. It's an island, some volcanic island over there where the people are something like beige colored. So don't give that racism up for a minute. Okay, so Maida said, but the other half of my people from Montenegro who went to England, they integrated so much better. Because in England, wherever you are, whatever you're talking about, people correct your language. Oh man, I totally learned something that day in 1995. That man, you need to correct people. Oh, it's so sad because those people in Chicago, that's my hometown, people that are so systemically disenfranchised, no one ever corrects their English. And they get angry probably if they get corrected, but hopefully we'll change. I'm going to change that, watch. Okay? So like I said, I already talked about when I travel. Let's go right into some of these mistakes. Okay, can you see that there? So this is the verb conjugation. So enfranchised person would say, I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, they are. The disenfranchised person would be like, I be. I be talking to you, or you be like, ain't doing nothing, that. So I be, you be, he, she, it, be, or continuous. Continuous is when you put the ing on a verb, like not love, but loving. And that's where on that he, she, it one, where they could be like, he playing, he laughing. Okay, that's not correct English. I'm not trying to say that you don't have a culture and that's a subculture, okay? That's that inner city disenfranchised subculture. Actually, it's not even only inner city. You find that same language structure in the country too. But, because I did live in the country in USA also. all skin tones. So he, she, it, continuous. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So how would you say he playing? First of all, that's also a pronunciation problem because it's he playing. Got to get that pronunciation right to get the money, get the job, get the insurance, and all this. I promise you. Anyone that tells you different is lying to you and playing you. They are playing you. See, that's correct English. That's the correct grammar. When you do those verbs are action words, right? It's called conjugation when you get the right endings on them, right? So he is playing you like that. Then they say like we be, you be, they was. Well, was is also in the past, right? But it's supposed to be they were if you want to talk in the past, right? So you can look that stuff up on the internet if you want. I just want to highlight that it's right there. That's where the job is missing. That's where you're gonna miss the job, you're gonna lose the interview. It's right there on those verb conjugations mostly. Also with pronunciation. So you gotta, the thing about what they say, in Germany they have the same thing, but they're not, it's not taboo. They talk about Hochdeutsch and then like these other more slang kind of Umgangssprache, right? So that's like slang. But people know when they go to work, they do not talk slang. They talk Hochdeutsch, so high German. So Deutsch, by the way, means German, right? So then in the USA, the people that got the money, they could talk, oh man, why are you trying to talk black? That racism, right? But those people, believe me, however they talk when they're having a drink, when they are at work, whatever their skin tone, they're speaking proper English. Or believe me, they would not have the job. That's so sad, but it's so true, and it's integration, it's natural, and I do it all over the place. Please do it with me. Wherever you go, speak the language of the people with the money when it's time for work. Okay, because work is about money. It's about doing something, getting some money. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to give you some examples, trying to not make this video too long. Here's some good examples. Now, I grew up in the south side of Chicago, right? And I'm a musician who's also became a programmer, and was friends with R. Kelly, and I went to the same high school as R. Kelly. So that's Kenwood, right, where he probably learned I know this is where he learned his gospel. That's where you hear that night, I believe I could fly, right? See, I just made a little slang, like, I believe I could fly, I could fly, but you need to, I believe I can fly, can. You need to let that out when you get into the job interview. Let out the full flow of your natural expression of the complete word as best you can. Before we get into these examples, let me just say that language, okay? I'm no expert with language, okay? But I did end up, I'm a Buddhist, and I really believe it's very important to live not where you grew up and try to love everybody. This video is not about that. But in that process, I learned languages. This is all after I was 30 years old or something. So, and I'm already 52. So get ready to die. The old man trying to talk to you. So basically, language, 4 organs of language. There's the eyes, where you read it, the ears where you hear it, the mouth where you speak it, and the hand where you write it. So hand, mouth, eye, ear. Put them all right next to each other. You see all 4 there? You need to do this. So how do you do this? You listen to those CDs. Okay? You listen to CDs, that's my old school. You listen to YouTube or whatever, okay? And then then this, you got to buy some books, just buy some. That's of the register of English. For example, we're talking about English, so of that business language. So every day you're hearing their music, not just like Bach, Beethoven, Mozart. You probably won't understand the words, right? I don't. But listen to something that they have that's of the higher register. Just listen to the news, for example. That's a good one. And see how they're talking. Reading it, Hemingway. Short sentences, very clear. Hemingway's a great example how to keep it simple, stupid, right? Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Hemingway. And try to find some friends who are interested in this, also being empowered, enfranchised. Have a little coffee hour or tea hour, right? And sit there with that tea and speak proper English, So then you're hearing it, you're speaking it, you're seeing. Then write emails, They got that thing, like, always advertising. I hate those advertisements. I never buy anything from advertisements. I just don't even get that. What kind of a soft kind of a person would just always buy what people tell them to buy? But they got that Grammarly. I have no idea what that is. So just, take a look at I would just buy a book from Borders, but that's that old school again. They probably already closed, right? Because there's the internet, Amazon. So buy a book somewhere online, okay? I'm a programmer. What am I talking about? But you know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to end this with some examples. Okay, I'm just going to read. So look how much crime, violence, and death surround the systemically disenfranchised. You think that R. Kelly is the problem? Go have a slumber party in the projects, okay? Tell me how good that was for your child. I'm someone from an enfranchised liberal family who did have sleepovers. Not exactly in the projects, but close to it, and it is not good for your child, I'll tell you. So don't try to target R. Kelly too much or something like, if you want to know about real violence and real negative situations, just look at the daily, you know what I'm saying? Don't try and pretend there's one person. So I'm not trying to say R. Kelly's all perfect. I'm trying to say just don't try to look at one person. It's such a human problem. They do that. President Putin, President Trump, the big problem. Look at all the people. See, that's a big thing of help with that. Okay, let's go to R. Kelly interview. The interviewer asks, it's about that whole thing about sex with children. Do you feel like this needed to happen? And the interviewer made a mistake, but what I want to point out is that the interviewer, you'll notice, is actually can get away with making mistakes. So this is the example where you don't have to worry about making a mistake.
Your thoughts about the second part of the Surviving R. Kelly, the part 2, the reckoning. Do you feel like this needed to be happened?
Okay, do you feel like this needed to be happened? It would be like, did you feel like this needed to happen? Now, how did I do that? I didn't just think about grammar. I'm just flowing because, like I said, I listened to that stuff, the proper English, for many years. And it's going to take you some time, to give yourself some time, 2 or 3 years. Listen to that proper English, speaking the proper English, because use it or lose it. Okay, that's that language thing. Reading it, writing it. So it just happened naturally for me. But what I want to point out, if you continue to listen to her,
even though now we've already said he's sitting in a jail, he's not.
Even though now he's sitting in a jail, she said sitting in a jail, but again, she's a little bit to conform to the lady she's interviewing, but kind of to embrace her language, because the lady she's interviewing is making these mistakes. Now, I want to say right off the bat, God bless her. I think from this interview, I don't know her, but she seems like a good mother. She's trying to take care of her baby, which is a beautiful thing. I do that too. And I'm with her 100% on that. So, but today we are going to talk about her language just because that was something I was watching. It's a good example. Let's jump over to that. So what does she say? She said, the mother of R. Kelly's girlfriend says, so what you do? She 18. Now, what's wrong with what you do? She 18. It should be, so what do you do? Now, again, I'm not going to try to get in all the grammar rules. This is just what should be a natural flow. A lot like rap music. A lot like music. Let's just say music, okay? So what you do? She 18. So what do you do? She is 18. Or she's 18. It's okay to do that contraction of she is, she's. We allow that one in the world of money in the USA. And by the way, that money in the USA, that'll get you a job over here. I live in Austria. It'll get you a job over here. It'll get you a job in a lot of places, even in Russia. It's better to speak Russian. You got to learn German in Austria and all that. But with that said, this English is the international language. Don't think that means gives you a carte blanche to go anywhere and just speak English. You have to respect the local culture. But that English would bring you up a notch. Okay, so you learn that local language to get you in the door. Then, there's our person that could speak English when we need to, connect with some USA distributor or whatnot. It's a good thing. Get you some money, some travel, some fun. You deserve that. Okay, so then she said, what you do? She 18. And then she says, or do I just be the mother and accept it? Okay, this is interesting because that's that pronunciation example. It's not accept, it's accept. Accept. So you got to get all those little sounds there. Accept, acta. So I think I'm a horrible speller, but I believe it spells something with A, C, or 2 C's, and then a T. You don't need to be able to spell so well because there's spell checkers everywhere. We only use computers now to write. You'll never be writing something with your hands at work, pretty much, unless you were at a pizza place like I did. But even that's probably all computers now. It's been so long. So, or do I just be the mother and accept it? Let's listen to this.
18, and she told me that she had been seeing him again. So what you do? She 18. So do I lose my daughter to him, or do I just be that mother and accept it? So I became that mother and I accepted.
You accepted it.
Yeah.
Ah, did you hear that? The interviewer said, you accepted it. She corrected her. God bless her. Is it? Remember, the whole thing, I'm a Buddhist. This whole thing's about love. If you love someone, care for them, Think about their happiness, how they're going to find happiness. Well, this woman here has had some, let's face it, some success riding on the coattails of attacking, even if it's correct, attacking R. Kelly. And that brought her into that television show. Some other people too that were brought into, that surviving R. Kelly and stuff, and that they're able to be empowered from that. But be careful, because that money will run out real quick, and then you're going to need to get a job, and you need to speak proper English. So that's just with love. Okay, I'm not attacking this woman. I have respect for that woman. I think she's a good mother. She's also very beautiful. I am a man, So I respect that mother, but believe me, she does need to fix that English. So I think that's almost the end of it for today. If you want more about the actual grammar mistakes of the disenfranchised, just put something in the comments. If you have something that you find that you say and you would like to know the proper way, not proper, let's say that, but the high English way to say it, that'll get you that job, just write it in there. I'll help you translate it. And again, does not relate to skin tone. This is whole answer to racism. This is that whole cultural discussion that's going to really dig into that thing that's been caused by the liberal movement of the last 100 years in the USA, that systemic disenfranchisement. That's going to stop. Believe me. And you're going to make it stop, right? I'll help you as much as I can. All right. I love you. Goodbye.